You're watching the RS Exchange in Energy News. The Kingdom of Morocco says one of its ambitions was to become the gateway for energy origination, transfer and certification on the African continent. The country's Minister of Energy and Sustainable Development, Dr. Leila Ben Ali, was speaking to these and other key issues for Africa's energy sector investments at the recent Energy Forum in Dar es Salaam.
Local and distributed generation and technology flexibility. In Morocco, as you know, we have reached 99.8% of rural electrification. And I would call on the quote of the chairman of the African Union and Mr. President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania when he quoted the difficulty of the last mile and the difficulty to finance and access the last mile. And in parallel, of course, we need to put together a supportive regulatory environment with a focus on facilitating multiple small-scale projects and setting clear pricing expectations. Because investors need visibility, and our role as governments is to provide them that transparency and that visibility to provide long-term financing for projects. And we also need to push for a new vision of multilateralism and reform of multilateral financial institutions. And again, I'll be quoting here His Majesty King Mohammed VI at the annual World Bank IMF meetings in Marrakesh, when he said that these meetings of the IMF and the World Bank annual gathering concluded that there was a pressing need to reform multilateralism and development financing. Two levers humanity came up with to meet the challenges of the 20th century. Two levers in which we believe today. So multilateral banks, international financial organizations serve as catalysts, but they need to do more, and we're happy to see the signing of the MOU by providing guarantees and risk-sharing mechanisms to reduce the perceived risks. These are perceived risks most of the time associated with investments in utilities and energy, particularly in Africa. As you know, in Morocco, we have also had that experience, 30 years of experience of attracting financial private capital in the energy systems. Because we've been an infrastructure space as well. We had our first independent power producer back in 1992. So we've had that long experience of attracting and putting together and structuring bankable projects, so we can capitalize on those experiences and we can capitalize on those lessons. And today we need win-win partnerships and an adequate risk allocation for our projects. In renewables, we've launched massive investments, again, with a focus on multiplying investments in our grids by 5 annually, multiplying investments in power generation, including renewable, by 3 annually. And of course, a minimum local industrial content of 30% in all renewable projects. And I would like to say a few words, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on the political vision that we have for the energy sector in Morocco and in Africa. It's connectivity. We've invested heavily and massively in our grid and our connectivity with our neighbors. And I'm pleased to say that we signed last week in Rabat an MOU, an agreement with our friends and our brothers in the Republic of Mauritania to develop an electricity interconnection. But that's not the first step, because we know we cannot succeed alone, and we need to work together, and we need to ensure that our markets are connected, not from an energy perspective, not from an economic perspective, but from a social and stability and peace perspective. If our markets are not connected, we will never be able to counter terrorism in our region. We will never be able to get politics to transcend our economic transformation, and we will never be able to put our countries on the path of sustainable development. So in Morocco, our geostrategic vision that we call the Atlantic Corridor aims to unlock Africa's growth potential, aims to ensure that countries of the Sahel have access to the Atlantic Ocean, aims to ensure that more than 400 million people in Africa have access to modern forms of energy, including, of course, gas connectivity. Morocco is one of the 5 global connectors of the global value chains. It's also a land of reconciliation. We are facilitating cooperation between major geopolitical blocs in areas like knowledge, intelligence, research and development, and we need that for the development of batteries, of storage, of grid management. So we really want to be a facilitator and a driver of this economic and social transition unfolding before us. We are continuing our active role in accelerating the integration of energy markets, connecting, of course, the 2 shores of the Mediterranean Sea with our partners in Europe and Africa and the Atlantic Basin. And our ambition, excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, is what we call an OTC corridor. OTC does not mean over the counter here. It means originate, transit, and certify. And it means that every molecule, every product, every electron originating, transiting, and being certified in Morocco is being certified as not only green, but in the wider environmental, social, and government sense, because we believe in peace, prosperity, and sustainable development. Thank you very much.